thought I'd put this video together to show a bit of the reality of diving, not the usual glassy, clear conditions I usually show in my videos. The rain had come down pretty hard, the swell was still up, and the viz was just terrible. But even on days like this, I wanted to see if it was still possible to get in the water and find a feed. So that's exactly what I'm doing here, keeping it shallow because the viz was just so bad. And I won't bore you with the hour of me searching around, but after a while I did find this rocky kind of area. And it turns out there were a couple of crays hiding away in there. See the first one out here. Just almost out in the open, but he may look alright on camera, but he's actually not very big, so I decided to leave him. But I thought I'd check out this little cave area just in case. With viz this bad, I really couldn't be bothered swimming around for too long, so even though I didn't have high hopes, I thought I'd check under here. And as I'm shining the torch around, I see a decent cray tucked away in the back there. He's in the most awkward possible position, way out of arm's reach, but I'm stoked because in this viz and this shallow, I'm really surprised that I actually found something. So I have a look around and it turns out there's a little hole towards the back that I can just fit my arm through that leads into where he's sitting. So here I am reaching in and I managed to grab a hold of his tail and I'm pulling and tugging, but he's not moving, and it turns out his body was a bit too big for that opening, so I didn't want to injure him. So after a while I just let him go. That's his tail just there, and decide to try from the cave entrance from the front, even though that was way more of a mission. The swell was actually quite strong, so I'm having trouble getting back down to the cave, but I'm just going down here to have a look at the situation, kind of scope it out, just to confirm that, yeah, this is going to be a massive amount of admin, getting him out of this cave. So I'm trying to have a bit of a think here, and as I come up I get smashed in the face with a little wave and swallow a bunch of seawater. So that was a bit disorientating, but I decided that that little hole that I first found was big enough that I could put my arm through, so I could maybe push him forward with my hand and then go around the other side of the cave to give him a grab. So that's what I'm just trying here. I was able to push him forward a bit and he did kind of come within arm's reach for a second there, so just giving him a grab here just to see if I can manage it, and I miss, unfortunately, but I'm not giving up. With all that swell, I'm really starting to cramp up and fitting my body into these awkward positions, so just bending the fins back here for a bit and then going back down. As I was putting my head into this cave, I bumped the camera and it stopped recording for the actual grab, but after a few tries, I was able to get a hand to him and bring him out. I'm stoked. I was really not expecting to get anything from a dive in these conditions, but yeah, just lifting him up here and met with this nice double rainbow scene. So just appreciate that for a second before calling it a day. Oh, that was a worthwhile mission. I did a flight with the drone before I came in and the water was looking milky, terrible. There was a massive rainstorm here yesterday, and yeah, got in for about an hour or so, had a swim around, struggled to find my things, and yeah, got a nice male crayfish, nice bug. So that was definitely worth it. Yeah, it's cleared up a lot now. Yeah, it's looking quite nice now, but it just shows, you know, it doesn't have to be the best conditions to grab some nice seafood. I've always thought, you know, if it's safe, you know, as long as it's safe, obviously. If the weather isn't that good, it doesn't really matter. That viz was about 1 meter. It was just swell, just smashing me up against the rocks the whole time. But luckily, I just jammed the gun in a crevice around where these guys are to mark the spot. And yeah, that's actually a pretty good size. Pretty happy with that. I just popped down here just after the drive and wasn't expecting anything massive. I was literally in 1 meter of water. really happy with that. I need to get like a tripod or something. I'm balancing this on a tree, but yeah. So overall, great mission. I mean, it's winter, so it's not exactly the hardest to find them. It's a nice chance to try the new wetsuit. The guys at DIVETECH have really hooked me up with all this amazing gear, so just want to say thank you to them. And yeah, probably go on another mission tomorrow. I claim to be going tomorrow, but this kind of swell was smashing the coast for the next 5 or 6 days, so I couldn't get in the water for that. But eventually it did clear up, and I got back in the water for another mission. Yeah. So the visit cleared a fair amount. It still wasn't great, but definitely workable. So here I am just loading the gun and starting to dive down and just have a look at the area. I hadn't been here before, so I'm starting in the shallows and just having a look. The goal being crays. It was the middle of winter when I filmed this, so crays were definitely the target, as is usually the case for my videos. But yeah, just having a swim around here and checking things out. Cool little moray eel there, if you can spot him, just guarding that little hole.
That's a hectic cave in there. Just right, coming down here. Go have a look. Not going to go too far in though, it's a bit sketch.
So very cautiously going down into this cave, just the entrance. I'm just shining the torch in just to see if there's any crays. I've dived in a couple of caves like this before, and it never seems like there's anything in there when it's in an area where the swell is constantly hitting it. I don't know if that washes it out or cleans it out, but yeah, there was nothing in here, but definitely worth a look, especially with the torch.
A bit too scary for me to check out any further.
That swell just kind of comes out of nowhere. It looks small, but when you're in the middle of it, it can be a bit difficult to manage. Just smashing my float boat and me up against the rocks there. So I decide to carry on to a different spot.
This rock fall here looks like it might be a good area for crays, because I imagine that kind of comes out into the water. So let's check it out.
If you ever are out diving, rock falls, I've noticed, are usually a good spot for all kinds of things, because they tend to carry on down into the water. So I'm just going down here and swimming up to it, and it looks like a promising area, and I'm heading right up into the shallows just to see what's around. To my surprise, as soon as I got there, I bump into these little guys. A couple of paua here, just right up in the shallows, less than a meter of water. Nowhere near legal though, unfortunately, but still really cool to see that there are paua here. That swell was picking up again and smashing me up around everywhere, so I decided to send it out a bit further to get away from that. Just going down here into the murk, and I spot this cool looking coral thing, or plant, not really sure, but yeah, it's quite cool to see. I hadn't seen anything like it before. Some more little paua here, which is really cool to see, really interesting. It's the first time I've ever seen 2 sets of paua out on a dive. And this nice leather jacket, which lets me touch him with the spear, which was quite fun. Getting back to it, I find this cave here just full of murky, red murky. And for a lot of guys, and for me, I've found that red murky always leads you to crayfish because they hang around in caves. So I'm just checking this one out here, but nothing here, so I keep searching. More murky cruising here, so I know I've kind of come to the right spot, so just keep having a look around here.
Just spotted a feeler here. It looks decent. I mean, from the few centimeters of it I saw, so the viz is quite bad out here, so had to mark it with the gun. Let's have a bit of a breathe up, then have a go.
It's a weird feeling diving down into real murky water. It's a bit scary, but it was winter, so I wasn't too worried about sharks. But here I am just going down, and I'd seen just a few centimeters of a feeler before, so I'm just getting a bit closer here to check it out, and it looks like a pack horse and a small red. So not really on the list. The pack horse is way too small. The red was probably as well, so I didn't want to risk damaging it. In the same area, I decided to dive down on this spot in about 8 or 10 meters or so, and I'm just scanning like you usually do. I have to get a lot closer than I usually do because of the viz, but it's looking pretty promising. There's these deep caves, kind of ledges that follow onto the sand and that are covered in kelp, and as I make my way around, I spot a decent cray.
Cray down there. Awesome, see if we can grab him. Doesn't look like he has a huge amount of space to go back.
I did underestimate how easy it would be to grab this one, so I'm sending it down here quite confidently, ready for an easy grab, but it wasn't so much that easy. So here I am here just going down and going for the standard front grab. And it turns out he actually had a heap of room to go back. So I did get a hold on him, but he was able to lock in and just really wouldn't come. So I had to give up and come back a second time. Here I am again, and I find another entrance along that crack and reach in there. And I managed to get a hand to him again this time, and I take a grab, but it seems like I've grabbed his legs, and they break off, which I'm really not happy about, because I don't want to leave an injured animal out there, so I have to go back down again, because I really want to get him, now that I've, accidentally injured him. So third try here, and this one goes a bit better luckily. I was having a bit of trouble finding the same crack because of the viz again, but kind of in a morbid way. I found it because of the legs I'd broken off that were at the entrance, so there they are there. So this time I managed to get a hand to him and pull him out. Finally get a grab on him and have a near miss at the surface, fumble him a bit, but still got him.
Oh, worth it. Awesome. Cool. Not my best grab, broken off a couple of legs there. That's why I was so determined to go and get him, because I didn't want to leave an injured one there. Awesome, yeah, happy with that. That feeler was just about to break. Jesus, it was jammed in there well, but probably going to go down and see if I can get some of those legs.
I'm a huge fan of cray legs, so just grab those ones up from there and call it a day after that. So despite some real bad weather and some dusty conditions, still managed to get a decent feed. So it just goes to show, it doesn't always need to be glassy and clear. But if you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.